Looking at the M2 course map, we've arrived at our current destination, Module 7. Let's dive in.
Here's our case file. A non-resident seller is exiting India-linked assets, and the buyer is rushing to close.
So can that eager buyer just safely assume the seller will handle the tax later?
Well, before the transaction can move forward, we must examine direct transfers of Indian-situated assets.
The first question in the file means tracking asset situs, capital gains, and finally, withholding.
Direct transfers of Indian shares firmly trigger domestic source rules under Section 9, Subsection 2, Clause D.
The analysis now turns to indirect transfers using a foreign holding company with Indian subsidiaries.
We must apply the Section 9, Subsection 10 substantial value test to the foreign share sale. That asset value relies strictly on fair market value, determined on the specified date under Rule 11.
If thresholds are met, check Indian asset attribution and specific foreign portfolio investor safe harbors.
If the seller promises to pay later, we really must uncover the buyer's hidden withholding exposure.
Section 393, Subsection 2, mandates withholding analysis before making any chargeable non-resident payment. This residual bucket captures chargeable sums that the eager buyer simply cannot afford to ignore.
Uncertain? Section 395 permits the appropriate proportion or lower deduction certificate route.
Because failure to withhold creates serious assessee in default status and interest exposure under Section 398.
So, the buyer must implement strict risk allocation controls and SPA protections before closing the deal.
By the time you finish, 3 capabilities should become clear.
Identify Indian source in direct and indirect exits.
2. Apply the substantial value and attribution lens.
3. Protect the buyer through withholding, certificate route, and SPA controls.
Let's begin the module interactions.